you're good. Hello, everybody. Welcome in, guys. Welcome to the stream. Hope everybody's doing well. Today we're playing some Dune. We're gonna do some Landsraad missions. I am 35 out of 35. We're pretty far here, and we got to do all of these. Well, I'd like to do all of these before before Friday when everything resets, and then we have the double XP going on. So let's just see what we're going to be doing. We're trying to do crafting and combat here. Still trying to get those leveled up mostly. Looks like we got one of the water shippers finally. And what about combat? We got anything there? Looks like we got one there too. So we'll give these a shot. We haven't done them before. I hear they're really spread out. I haven't done any of them. So we'll give it a shot. And after that, we'll go from there. We got Broodworks, Blushing Caverns, and then looks like Reading the Mail. I think we'll probably grab this. Oh, it's at Broodworks. Is this Broodworks? Huh. Interesting. Yeah, okay, that is Broodworks. Is that a new one? I don't remember. Anyways. All right, let's go ahead. I think we're dressed for success here. I think we're fine. Do we have a shotgun? Yeah, we got a shell burster here. I think we got everything else we need, so we'll just head out. We're only going to be doing Dune here for about an hour, and then we're going to jump over to some Civ 7 and hop in there. And the reason for that is I'm going to be honest, guys, the drops right now in Dune with these testing stations are so bad. I have done, I mean, I don't know how many times I've ran these testing stations, and it's just, the drops are so bad. I don't know what else to say. They're just really bad. I've gotten cut like the same thing twice, which is like one good drop, and then I think I got like one other okay drop or something, like one of the new items. Other than that, I've got nothing useful, and I've ran them, I don't know, not 100 times yet, but somewhere in that vague range, and it's just kind of wild to have to run something that much. And we've told the developers that the drops aren't good enough, and they like adjusted them by like a couple of %, and it's just not enough. And I think the only thing that's going to get them to fix the game is, unfortunately, people leaving the game or stopping playing certain content. So I think that's kind of where we're at. I'm honestly, if we don't see some major changes before console launch, guys, I'm probably going to be taking a break from the game. I mean, I'll still be playing some, and I'll still be streaming some, but it's just going to go way down because there's no new content. And not only is there no new content, but the content that we have is pretty broken, and not in a good way. And they've gotten feedback. I don't think that they are aware of a lot of the things, and they've been surprised by it. But at this point in the game, they shouldn't be, and these things should be fixed. And I think what they're doing is I think they're focusing on the console launch to the detriment of other things. And I also don't think that they are taking the other problems seriously enough. Is what I. That's where I'm at right now. That's what I think's going on. Could be wrong, could be surprised, but we've had these issues with not only what's up, gal? Not only with Funcom here, but other companies, and the only thing, you got to vote with your money. And you gotta tell them with, with the only place it really matters, which is the pocketbook, what you think. And I just kind of feel like we're approaching that situation. And the reason I say that, the reason I'm to this situation, is, is this down below? We were like leading up to the release of, Chapter 2, we need an in-game. There wasn't an in-game going on. Is this a puzzle that I have to solve? Do I have to go in here and then go up? Is that what's going on? Yeah, so leading up to the the most recent chapter, or I'm sorry, the chapter before now, and then the most recent chapter, we needed some in-game content, and I knew they were in a crunch to make it, and they made all these testing stations, and it was like, you know what? That's awesome. That's what the game needed. That's what they should have been focused on, and I was glad that they were doing it. That was all. That was all well and good, and I was happy with that. I think most of us were. And then chapter three rolled around, and chapter three was really light because they are focusing on console launch, and I was willing to I'm okay with the lack of new content. This is one of those things that players, we've talked about this a bit before, but players will say things like that they're okay with I'm hesitating because I know not a lot of people have tuned in yet, and I feel like I might have to repeat this, but so you guys will just have to bear with me, the ones that are already here. Yeah, I just feel like with players will say that they want the bugs fixed, and and that new content should be secondary to that, and usually that's not true, or games companies feel like that's not true, or maybe what I should say is games companies seem to be able to get away with not actually fixing things. And so they don't. I know that's a wild thing, but oh, that's fun. These guys are up here. Are you gonna shoot at me? Shoot at me! I dare you. And we've seen only a few games. Actually, Helldivers, not all that long ago, was in this situation, and they got enough blowback from their player base that they pushed a content release back and took care of some things. Now, I'm going to be honest. I personally didn't feel like what they did or what they needed to do there was like that big of a deal. And they could have just kept going with the content. But I was fine with it, right? Whatever. I don't really have a. I'm a very, I look at this, since I'm a content creator, I look at this as a very long time frame kind of thing. And so I'm often just like, okay, I'm along for the ride, and if something is not fun or not going well, there is more games out there than I have time to play, and I will just go play one of those. That's kind of how I look at this stuff. And anyways, I do think that, a lot of us players really do want these bugs fixed. What's up, Rodrigo? He attacked. He's Landsraad. He's back. What's up, man? Yeah, I think that for a lot of us, we do want these bugs fixed. When you play a game a lot, if it's going to be like your main game, the bugs, the more and more they happen, they go from like a surprise into into like slightly annoying, into like pretty annoying, into like eventually where that ends is infuriating is what happens, and you're just so pissed off that the bug is still in the game or what have you. And I say that, I also mean balance issues and a bunch of other stuff. I don't necessarily just mean bugs, because I think I'm talking more broadly issues with the game, I guess. It's like it's frustrating the first time, you're not happy about it the second time. The third time, you're like, what the hell? The 20th time, you're like, what the is going on? You're not happy. This is really cool. And some of what needs to be changed in the game to make it better is incredibly easy to do and would take very little time and effort. And it's just not being done. And all of this, what the whole lead up to all this was that, saying that like, hey, I'm kind of getting to the point where I want them, they need to do something. And if they don't, then like, I'm gonna vote with my time, I'm gonna vote with my money, and I'm gonna move along until there's something worth coming back to, is kind of where I'm at with the game. And again, the reason I'm there now, and the reason I wasn't there before. Okay, so did I go through that whole area for no reason? Was that just like fun RP? Did I get a bracelet? I don't know. I don't think did I grab it? Oh yeah, I did grab a bracelet. Okay, maybe I had to go grab that bracelet. Yeah. So anyways, all that to say that like, we're approaching a point where there's no reason why they haven't fixed these things. There's no reason why they're broken. except for maybe the developers think that it's okay the way they're broken, which is certainly not okay with me personally. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And if you're wondering like what specific things, like where I'm at with a lot of this stuff, that area seems like we should want to go in there. I don't know how to get in there. Um, we're talking about weapon balance or the lack thereof. They balanced most of the new weapons fairly well. They didn't bother going back and fixing literally any of the other weapons. And there's a handful of other things that they're just simple values that need to be changed, and they haven't been changed. And I don't know. At some point you stop asking. Asking for better drops. The grind in in-game is ridiculous. It's not very fun. To grind up this many, so many times to get the loot you need, it's too much. Yeah, Landsraad grind. Woo, the most fun ever. Yeah, exactly, Theory Carver. Yeah, weapons and how about fixing skills? Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's what we're talking about, right? Like, so for example, I tried it out the other day, guys, because like part of being a content creator and trying to like do guides and stuff like that, sometimes you just gotta try shit, and just like see what it happens. You never know. I tried running explosive grenade and assault seeker in the new testing station, and my theory was confirmed. It was pretty hot garbage. It was not very good. It was pretty. Oh, this is a lock-in room. Interesting. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was not worth running. And it was like, yep, just use the ancient way. And it's like all they have to do is change some values on that to fix that, and it would. I mean, how it's essentially going into a spreadsheet and changing a value. It's nothing crazy. And it's not something that should take, a ton of time and a ton of effort, ton of energy or whatever to fix. Like, just fix it. Like, it's not you don't need a committee to talk about it. Just fix it. And similarly with most of the weapons, really, heavy weapons have been broken since launch. Okay, so did I miss something down here? Is that what's going on? Yeah, I'm never coming back here. I'm going to do these once and I'm never coming back here. And at some point you expect these things to be taken care of, and expect them to fix the bugs. And if they're right now, the thing that's frustrating for me is that they're focused on console launch when they haven't fixed core broken parts of the game, and they're trying to make more money. And I can tell you this, I will be giving a very honest review pre-console launch to let everybody know the current state of the game. And what I will say at this point, unless things change, for better or for worse, is essentially that, like, there is, so depending on how much, I got to kill this person now. Depending, there is X amount of dollars worth of content in the game. And I just want people to know, like, what they're getting, what they're not getting, and that they need to understand that if Funcom hasn't fixed this stuff now, they might never fix this stuff. And so you just got to know that, and you got to go in with eyes wide open about that is the situation. Do we have to build something? Craft some prototype. Looks like we need some scrap metal. I don't remember whether it was scrap metal. Shouldn't we have a quest marker, though, for the price of water here? Reach the control center in some unknown area. Is that a control center up there? We shall see. Weapons and how about fixing skills, Rico says. And then we work so hard to get level 100 for these sweet 55 extra SP. And what do we get? Half the skill tree is broken. Yeah, exactly. 50 fix your game. Fix your game. And then PvP balance is still like kind of nonsense. And they didn't need to break it. Yeah. Or a price tag at least for the price of water. Yeah, I just, there's so many games. Like, I honestly feel like there are more games that have had good, quote unquote good bones, which I feel like is where Dune is at. I feel like there's been more games that have had good bones that have died on the vine, that have died without having their full potential realized. I'm just looking for scrap right now to finish this quest. Is there no scrap just laying around here? I guess not. But like I think about Anthem. Anthem's gameplay, the feel of Anthem was so good back in the day. When it first launched, it felt great, and it was like, yeah, the story was complete nonsense, but like, I don't know, I don't really care about story, so I was like, that's fine. They didn't have content. They just didn't have any content, and they just abandoned the game, And so there's just so many games that are like, oh yeah, there's a cool game here that, again, just completely die on the vine. That holding out hope that one day the game is going to get it, the games company is going to get its stuff together and fix the game is just, well, you know what? If it's worth it to you, I say more power to you. But for me, nah, I'm not waiting around. It feels way too much like an abusive relationship where you're like, no, they'll change. No, I'm sure of it. I'm sure they'll change eventually. And you're like, yeah, nah. I mean, maybe they will, but maybe, I'm gonna go date other people until they change, because chances are they're probably not going to change. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now with the game, and I hope that if it comes to that, well, first of all, I hope it doesn't come to that. As far as like having to give a review and let people know what the current state of the game is, and that honestly, for a lot of people, they probably shouldn't buy it. Is there just no fucking scrap? I remember seeing scrap earlier, and I just didn't grab it. I think it was in here. Where was it? Yeah, and so, like, I don't want to have to do that, but if I do have to do that, I hope it affects the sales. I hope it affects the sales negatively, and in such a way that these guys will realize they have to fix their game. It's a little bit sad, it's a little bit frustrating that we're to this point, and we're getting to this point. Not that we haven't been here with 1,000 other games. I mean, I was playing, Civ. I've been playing a lot of Civ recently, Civilization 7. And, all right, there's some other thing I got to go to. Is it way back up here now that I've come all the way down? Probably. That game, too, like, they just completely screwed up the AI in it. And it's just after also screwing up a bunch of other things. And, we just have to vote with our money as players. It's just something we got to make sure that we do, or we'll never get the thing that we're looking for. We'll never get the good game. And then we also have to do things, like point out. I had someone actually in my comments just the other day that was talking about Dune, and then they mentioned Helldivers, and they were like, "Oh, how bad Helldivers is." Helldivers and Arrowhead, the company that makes Helldivers, is one of the best companies out there. And as far as like listening to player feedback and so on and so forth, and so it has to be both. We also have to like acknowledge that and say, hey, if there is a games company, if there is a game that's doing a great job, we want to like continue to recognize that. But continuing to support a game and a games company that's just not listening to its player base and is not acting in quickly enough and fast enough, it just can't be acceptable. And the only way to get that change, guys, is money talks. It's the same reason that in Dune they said, okay, we're refocusing. We're refocusing on PvE, PvE first. The only reason they did that is because of money. And so you just gotta realize that is the situation that is far too often the case. And have to act accordingly, unfortunately. And I don't think, I don't think that Funcom has been particularly bad as far as listening to feedback. I think they've been a little tone deaf and a little bit like they don't understand their own game, and they clearly also seem to be looking at metrics, like, oh, we'll look at this metric or that metric, and it'll tell us what to do. And instead of having someone who's actually like been playing the game and knows what the current state of it is and looks like, which is what they need to do, they're like looking at metrics, and if the metrics look fine, they think everything's fine. And that is, anybody who like professionally does this sort of thing would tell you that's a stupid idea. That's not how you do these things. That the numbers aren't everything, because the numbers you need other information to interpret the numbers. You can't just look at the raw data and expect that that's going to tell you everything, because it's absolutely not. All right, now do I have to go back? This is... All right, this one is 60-something meters this way. All right, hopefully... So we were just here. Maybe we could have done both of these at the same time or something. I literally thought we just did this. Maybe it was a different one. Cool. Yeah. It's an abusive relationship. They abuse our sanity. We abuse their bugs. Theory Carve says it's very frustrating that we're at this point when even the basics. Oh, okay. We already locked in now. Okay. It's very frustrating that we are at this point when even the basics of the game aren't being addressed, and things like PvP are addressed with knee-jerk reactions, not creativity. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I wouldn't phrase it exactly like that, but you're not wrong. We'll always have our untouchable red bar. Dude, yeah, and I don't even mind the red bar, man. I think the red bar is okay. I actually like it. I think it's kind of fun. They just can't fix the game well enough for the red bar to not be infuriating for players. and you know what? I say this, like, I think the red bar is something that like 80 or 90% of players like actually agree on. Yeah, we actually like we actually agree on it, like, because a lot of players who are like, yeah, the red bar sucks or whatever, when I've talked to them about like the actual issues with the red bar, and okay, where that one's done. All right, when I talk to them about the actual issues with the red bar, it's usually like the red bar could be okay. It could be, just certain things need to happen, and they're not. And they probably are not going to, and so that's just where it's at. So it is problematic. Don't get me wrong, but it could be okay. And they built the entire game around it too, which is, oh my gosh. They built the entire game around it. I mean, with all the new stuff too. Like everything's just built around it. And so it's definitely not going anywhere. But they had to do things to... They couldn't stop people's vehicles from getting swallowed in the ground. That's a problem. Places where you're like, your vehicle will just disappear. And it's like, well, they needed a vehicle recovery tool because they couldn't stop that from happening. It's like, yikes. Okay, it's easier to make a vehicle recovery tool than it is to fix this bug. Okay. And it's just like, how many of these issues are going to come up when you want to die on this hill, but you can't actually fix the problems, with it. So yeah, I don't know. It's a head scratcher for sure. It's just a case of like being like, absolutely, we want to do this thing. We're going to do this thing. We're going to try really hard to do this one thing. And then constantly not being able to technically do it, and never going, you know what? Maybe we got to do something different here. Like the thing they want to do different is kind of silly. It kind of feels a little more than a little janky. And for example, like now being able to recover your vehicle if it gets eaten by the worm. I don't actually like that. I mean, the worm is supposed to be dangerous. It's supposed to be like it's supposed to be a feel bad moment if you get eaten by the worm, and I like that. I like the actual having some risk. And now it's like, well, it's no big deal. I'll just, whatever. I'll just like, vehicle tool, backup tool. I lose 15% durability, and it's not really a big deal. But they can't make it where you only get eaten by the worm in situations that are appropriate. So, I don't know. Rodriguez says Helldivers only had rough times because of Sony, not themselves. At launch, it was fantastic. Yeah, I would agree. I think there's some people that play Helldivers that there's some people that play Helldivers that wanted it to be the only game they played. A lot of YouTubers fall into this category as well. Several of them, and this is interesting. I mean, it's like a fun area, and a lot of them, they were playing Helldivers like people had crazy amount of hours in Helldivers, and they were playing it like it was an MMO, and Helldivers is not an MMO. All of the missions are roughly the same. They're a little bit different, but it like after you played it a while, it's like pretty formulaic. After a while, you have the AI memorized. After a while, and that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. The game was like, I think it was $40, $45 or something for the core part of the game. And you could easily get $45 worth of, way more than that, really, of playtime out of the game. And there were people that wanted it to be the only game they ever played. And it was never going to be that for them. That was never really going to be possible. But that's what they wanted, and they had unrealistic expectations. That's just the truth of the matter. And then they got really frustrated. And you know what? There are some bugs. There were some bugs and issues with the game, sometimes with balance and what have you. So I'm just kind of like looking around. It's kind of cool in here. And then I don't know how I need to get up there, but and that's fine. Like, not every game has to be the only game you're ever going to play again. And there are a lot of games companies, especially indie ones, that's the style of game they make. It's not meant to be, again, it's not meant to be the only game you ever play. That's just true. And people want that, and that leads to issues. But it doesn't, these Helldivers was never telegraphing itself and like saying, no, we're going to be the only game you ever want to play. And so, people got frustrated, and then people were way too upset about minor balance issues and stuff like that. And it, sure, it needed to be addressed, but oh my gosh, we came back here again, so we're just doing all this stuff again. Are we done yet? We've been to every place 3 times to do 2 quests. I don't think I'm ever coming back to this area again. Yep, return to Ornithopter. All right, cool. Well, we got rid of those quests. I'm never grabbing them again. Cool new area. I hate questing. And with, back to Dune, like, part of the frustration here is that they introduced a new area, and they're working so hard to fix all the bugs for the people that want to just run the same mission over and over again. They keep working really hard to fix those bugs so that they don't happen. Who gives a shit? Like, who really cares, man? If like people want to, run the same quest over and over again 60 times to get their whatever maxed out, like, honestly, who cares? Like, really, who cares? And so they're doing all this stuff, and the consequences of some of those fixes are that it's running the game for other people that are not really trying to exploit it, and they're spending resources to fix these things they could be spending fixing the actual problems with the game. And it comes off as tone deaf and out of touch, and more than a little frustrating, and you're just like, guys, what are you doing? And, the end of the day, it's just that the competency at the company is not what it should be. The skill that, and their knowledge at making a game is not what it should be. That's just what it comes down to. There's not really anything else, I mean, some of it is like, oh, we don't, they didn't know and whatever. Sure, but like they should know, right? Like all of this is stuff that they should know, and they don't. And so then you got to go, what's going on? What's going on with your practices? Like what? Why don't you have somebody at the company who is an expert in the game and who plays it and knows what the hell's going on? Because they could tell you all this stuff that I would say and that you guys would say, and they would know intrinsically because they play the game, and they don't have that. If they have that, they're not listening to that person. And at some point, what are you going to do, right? You're going to scream, bang your head against the wall, or just go play another game. And I think that's unfortunately kind of where it feels like we're headed. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope they turn things around. There's still a lot of fun here. Like there's still hundreds of hours in the game and of things for you to do. But yeah, they're chasing money, and I'm sure they need to do that. But they need to keep the players they have, and actually service them, and not be chasing the next dollar, because this happened with ESO too. By the way, another game that I play. Let me catch up on chat though. Theory Carver says with a new speed you get because of the specialization, wings are getting more damage again. Which brings back red bar concerns. I'm fine with some red bar, but not so much in the way. Yeah, Theory Carver. Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff. Like whenever we've had conversations about like the red bar, we can have it again. Like maybe we'll make a stream or something out of it and talk about it. Usually when we get into the details, we all pretty much agree. Like pretty much everybody is like fine with the red bar in certain circumstances, and under it needs to work right is the main thing. It's not rocket science, like it just things need to work right. You can't have broken stuff making the game not work. I mean, albatross wings, I haven't tested them out right now, but albatross wings feel like garbage on a rocket thopter, and flying a rocket thopter feels like garbage. And all this was to fix something, and it's like, well, now it feels really bad. And yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that, fixing the ornithopter surfing with las guns. I got to be honest with you. I think ornithopter surfing is actually quite a fun. It's one of those bugs that's actually quite fun. And, if the issue is people using las guns against vehicles, well, why don't they use las guns against vehicles in the game, or I'm sorry, in the movie, in the books? Oh, because of the worm? Oh, okay. Like like people can't use shields, but normally they do have shields. So yeah, you don't use las guns against most vehicles because they have shields. So it's just stuff like that where you're just like, what do you guys? There's an easy solution. And I imagine that in some later date they are going to give us shields or whatever, but it's just it just doesn't make any sense to me, and it's just a very unfun way of fixing things. I'm talking too much sense, I know. What's up, Direct? Yeah. What's up, Krabby? Did they ever fix Pardo's hood? Dude, what was wrong with Pardo's hood? I don't even know. I'm gonna guess no. I'm gonna guess almost definitely not. And, that's another thing. Like, we're talking about that, like, talking about skills. Like, some of the skills don't work right. Like, I mean, if you look at, just as a for instance, like, exploit weakness doesn't work the way it says it works. And that actually works. But Prescient Strike has a bug. It does something weird where it doesn't work a lot of the time. And, there's like one skill that you would often use it with that will just make it not work. And Prescient Strike, if you don't know what it does, after you use one of the skills, the Swordmaster skill, such as Knee Charge, and then Slow Blade, it will do like 2 strikes, but it doesn't actually work most of the time. Like if you use Knee Charge, you can Slow Blade too quickly. I guess you have to like wait for your, I don't know. People tell me you have to wait for your foot to touch the ground back onto the ground after the Knee Charge for it to work, which essentially means that like it just doesn't work, and most people aren't gonna. It's just not going to work right for him. So, yeah. Again, another head scratcher there. Wait, what do I have to do here? I didn't even look what quests I had. Do I have false flag? I do have false flag. I need to get this body over here. There we go. All right, so we got to go Locate the cave, and then craft the Ixian eyes. Okay. Does center of mass work? Center of mass does work. So center of mass, if you ever use it, first off, where the light pops up on somebody is random, completely random, has nothing to do with your actual hit location. I assume that's because the hit boxes don't actually, don't there's probably only a head hitbox and a body hitbox is my guess. But where it pops up randomly, it seems to be random, and then it seems like you get the buff, which is not how the tooltip is described. I shouldn't have picked that one because like it does work. It just doesn't necessarily have the same kind of tooltip you would. The tooltip doesn't explain the skill. Prescient strike being bugged. Oh, what else? I mean, off and on, like various, gunsmith and field maintenance have not worked at all. I don't know what the current state is on them. Oh, what else? Death from above is another one. It's fine, but like they need to change the tooltip. You don't have to be above somebody. You just have to be in the air at all, which is not what the name implies. Yeah, there's a handful of others. The damage on some of these things are related to weapon damage, but it's related to your weapon damage on these retaliate and stuff like that. But I think it's like just the base damage. It's not actually with your augments, if I recall. So that's not right. Like that's not not working how we think it should work. Not scaling properly. Oh man, I'm trying to think of ones that I've tested recently that I know are still in the game. Prescient strike, as we mentioned, being an issue. Thrive in danger is like just a useless skill. I don't know. Some people like it in certain situations, but I personally really don't like it. But that's kind of beside the point. But yeah, there's a handful of skills that don't. Well, most of the skills either. I would say like 90% of the skills either the damage isn't scaling properly, they don't work properly, they don't work how they're described.
Ranger knows that if you're a maintenance supervisor at a
what is going on?
Facility and you're
just randomly getting an ad, YouTube popping up an ad. It does that sometimes. Okay, that's weird. Yeah, so anyways, there's a handful of things that are just not. Some of the damage is additive. I think some of it is multiplicative too. That doesn't make any sense. A lot of times when they tell you what the damage is or how things are working, I mean, I could go on and on, guys. Like, I don't know. There's a lot. Hey, Nani, what's going on? A lot of times whenever... Stop shooting me. It's really nice that shooting someone slows them down because melee wasn't bad enough. So it's really good that they're making it worse. Getting ready for raids, nice. I don't even remember what I was saying. Yeah. Anyways, there's a bunch of things that are either broken or not working right or something. So, would just really like to see them actually bother to fix those. Oh, heavy weapons. Most of them. So when I think of heavy weapons, I think of the ones that are. I kind of think of categories as like there's like three. I know there's or four. I mean, there's only three. I kind of think of it as heavy weapons and then like special weapons and then, ranged and melee. But all the specialty weapons are also heavy weapons. But I'm thinking about the machine guns, the heavy machine guns that we have, the flamethrower, now the new pyrocket. They introduced a new weapon that is also, and it just doesn't work right. And it's like, it'd be nice if there was a way that made sense to use. Oh, I need to plant the third eye, don't I? Yeah, it'd just be really nice if these skills work the way they're supposed to. If there was a heavy option, like viable way of playing, and there's just really not. Like, you can't really play with heavy weapons. I mean, you can kind of do something, but it's objectively worse than not. Is the problem. and they just haven't addressed any of this stuff. But they're trying to sell people on console on the game. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they should get punished for that, and or they should fix it. So I hope one of those two things happens. And if they did a handful of things, it would just make such a big difference, and they're so easy to do. And so that either shows like, well, mostly it just shows incompetence. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I've been in this situation with other games, and usually what it comes down to is just incompetence on the part of the developers. And I think we can see that here. And it's weird because there's a lot of great things involved with the game, and there's also a lot of people at this company that are doing a killer job. I mean, some of these this level design, much of it, I know I was complaining about the water shipper area, but that's just because I don't really think the current. I don't think his content is particularly engaging. Yeah, but you know, a lot of the level design, a lot of the visuals on stuff. I mean, it looks amazing. I mean, some of those new areas, the new greenhouse little looking areas there at the water shippers, it looked great. That looked amazing. That was cool. That was cool looking. So, you know, like, they deserve a pat on the back for that. But, you know, that's not necessarily the same person who's then not fixing the broken weapons that have been in the game since launch. So it does seem like they have some great people doing some really great work at the company. But overall, it seems like there's some incompetence going on. And, you know, a lot of this stuff does come back ultimately to the creative director. You know, the whole concept of the early game being PvP, and then, you know, somehow the early concept of the game with PvP, people were pointing out before the game even launched about the obvious problems that were going to happen, and how people would be griefing, and about how it would be just incredibly cutthroat, and there would be people out there camping. People who played early, that played in the beta, were going to get out there, and they were going to, because they've already played, and then they're going to get their friends that they got to play, and they were going to speed run, you know, the early part of the game, not really care about anything else, just speed run it, get out to the deep desert, and then camp the resources. And what do you know? That's exactly what happened. And there were things that could have been done to address the obvious issues that were going to come up, and they weren't. And that is on the creative director. That is his fault. And there's really nothing else, you know, to it. Is the upgraded spice container only available when you have the Landsraad vendor? Correct. Yeah. Yep. Or you can get it. You can get it from, you know, trading, basically, right? So you can get it from the. Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Solari duplication, that's an issue. Was an issue, and you know, continues to be a problem. Duping with everything else, like, none of that was. It was in the game for way too long. They couldn't figure it out or whatever, and it completely ruined the economy. So, yeah, there's always, in pretty much every game that ever made with this stuff, like, there's always some exploit that people can find that will essentially ruin the game for everybody else. And, you know, the issue is when it's, like, really easy to do, and every player is, and, like, not every player, but just, like, massive amounts of players are doing it, and it's not just people that are trying to sell gold for real dollars. Yeah, the market is crazy because of the inflation. Why do people have to be asshats? Yeah, I don't know, Donnie. It's kind of crazy, but it is unfortunate. I think the question I ask is, like, why didn't they plan for this and, you know, just do a little something about it, right? Like the repair glitches, right? The repair glitches, people knew about those because they existed in Conan. And so a lot of the code for this, they copied and pasted. They never fixed those things. I mean, I don't know whose fault that is, but it sure seems like that's the developer's fault, you know. So, just some of this stuff, you know, it's not horrible. It's not like they're evil. Not like the game is terrible, but it's unfortunate. And I think what is so unfortunate about it is that the game is so great and there is so much going on, going for it. Some of the level design, some of these areas are designed so well. Oh, I forgot to put on my suit. Hopefully I'm not dying. Near death, yeah, I am. I've died in here forgetting to put on my rad suit. Feels bad. I don't like doing that stuff. Too bad enough people did it. Yeah. Yep. Oh, I gotta go like really far. Alright, now we're good. Well, and like, you know, some of that stuff too, again, if the game is like, if the game is killing you, if the game is being unfair, like, it's pretty understandable some of that repair glitch stuff, you know. The Solari, not so much. There's not really an excuse for that. But they couldn't make their game and fix it in a way that was fun for everybody, you know. Are we good here? So radiation still going down? Is it at 0? Yeah, there we go. I was pretty surprised by the PvP community in this game. And then when I talked to a lot of other people that PvP in games like this, it became very clear that I was just incredibly naive on how people would act and behave, and that, and again, this is part of what people were predicting before the game even launched about what was going to happen with some of the PvP areas and stuff like that, and you know, I didn't make the game. I hadn't thought about it really before. Too much. I mean, I was looking forward to it, but you know, I didn't know anything about the game design. I wasn't in early access or beta or anything like that. But I feel like the developers should have, you know, and there's things you can do to, you know, to prevent some of the bad behavior, and they did none of them as far as I could tell. And it's a little bit, so and then we're surprised at the outcome. Yeah, they should have known. Yeah. I mean, if you know, if you got players too telling you like, hey, here's what's going to happen, you know, this is what happened in this other game, this is what happened in this other game, and you know, these guys, if they're making a different style game than they have made, should at the very least be looking at other games and like saying, hey, what worked well for them, what could be a problem area for us, like, you know, and that they didn't do anything or thought it would be okay is just a head scratcher to me. Yeah, they did nerf the shit out of these heal kit drops. That's another thing. Like they're fixing heal kit drops, you know? So this is like a really good example of the stuff that really pisses me off, and I think pisses you guys off too. Heal kit drops. So these were too high apparently, so they nerfed them again, and apparently nerfed them into the fucking ground. Who was this hurting? What problem was this causing? Nothing. This was not a problem. It was not hurting anybody. It was actually great. You could get all the heal kits you wanted, right? It was pretty cool, and you could actually use heal kits. For the first year that I played the game, before they, like, not quite, but whatever, you know, the first like year I played the game, I only used these cheap heal kits because it was not worth it to go get the other heal kits. It just wasn't. And so you just got a bunch of fiber, you made the cheap heal kits, and you used them. And that was it. Or people did like, you know, abused exploits to use higher tier kits. But the point is like no one was really using heal kits. They needed to be more plentiful. And if you're going to take the time to fix the heal kit drop rates, fix the fucking testing station drop rates, right? Like, it needs to be done. And they're not, oh, we'll look at it. We'll keep looking at it. You don't need to look at it. You don't need to look at it. On a double drop weekend, it feels kind of okay, except for you still get way more trash than you should be getting. And they know this. They've been told this. There's no way I ping somebody in their Discord. There's no way they haven't seen my comments on the subject. I'll put it that way. And so if they're just not going to do anything about it, like, cool, I will just take my money and go elsewhere, I guess. And it really sucks because, again, the game has such great bones. I don't want to. I want to keep playing Dune. I want there to be more content. I want to keep playing. I want to keep enjoying myself. But if they're not going to fix these bugs, I'm not getting myself into another, like, 5-10 year relationship with a game where I'm constantly disappointed by their actions. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just not into that. So I'm willing to give them a second try. I'm willing to be open. I'm willing to, even if I decide one thing, I'm willing to, change my mind at some later date. But there's got to be some progress towards this stuff, or it just feels like you're banging your head against the wall for no reason. So I think I got to kill this guy, right? Yeah. I mean, you see we're right here. All right, that one's both done. Okay, cool. Oh, somebody's still alive. Who's still alive? This guy? Oh yeah, and then they keep reintroducing this dude's like bugged, but he'll like interrupt you. That's funny. Yeah, they keep reintroducing bugs continuously. Every time they fix a bug, they keep reintroducing bugs. I don't even like, that's not even the worst thing to me. Like that's not the stuff that bothers me. Like, a game having bugs and having issues is not what bothers me. I'm willing to forgive a lot of that stuff, and I'm sure you guys are too, especially if the game is fun. It's just, though, that you just need to see good, solid decision making coming on the part of the developers, and not poor decision making. And that's what we're seeing. It's not very great decision making. Let me see here. Theory Cover says, yeah, they nerfed them hard because gods forbid you get MK6 heal kits and instead get the bandage rolls. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Now you get the toilet roll. Yeah, it is. Oh, man, that is kind of what it looks like, huh? Yeah. You didn't mean you don't need your 457th Glasser G3 from a level 40 testing station? Theory Carver asks. I mean, listen, I'm just saying that after 400, I've got enough Glassers, and they're complete garbage. So, yeah, if I could stop getting those. Yep. Reminds me of how bugs were always handled in Destiny. Oh, yeah. That's that's how bugs are handled in Elder Scrolls Online too. I don't understand. Are these guys, they're supposed to be gamers. It's like, do you guys not know? Do you guys not know how people are going to feel about this stuff? Do I need to spell it out for you? I'm quite confused. Quite confused. What do we got here? So this one's also Broodworks, right? I think both those are Broodworks. Yeah, and then Broodworks. I don't like that this one doesn't say it up top. Tell me exactly where I'm going and what I'm getting into. All right, we're going to try to do one more set of this. We're going to accept this only so that we can abandon it and hope we get something else. Blushing Cavern. All right, well, we're going to go do Broodworks real quick. Yeah, it's always baffling. Yeah, Elder Scrolls Online would have, they had bugs where people could run around in PvP for like years, taking 0 damage in PvP, and they never knew about it. And there were issues with stuff like that. They recently said they fixed an issue, and the rest of us, like literally the in-game community, had known that it was. Oh, I gotta go to the other one. Where's the other one at? Is it up here? Yeah, Broodworks. And literally the in-game PvP community or PvE community. Well, in-game community, I guess, in general, really, had known the way damage was being calculated for years, and then they finally decided to change it. And it, like, I'm not really, let me be more succinct. There will be bugs that are pissing players off and that are ruining the player's gameplay experience, and they will ignore them, and they will not fix them for years. And then there will be bugs that are, like, funny, fun, whatever, and they will act like it's the biggest fucking deal that they have to fix these bugs, and then they'll just like go for it, like they gotta. We're fixing it yesterday. Also, we're banning anybody who used this exploit. And in one of them in ESO, like you could basically some ability that increased your damage by a percentage wouldn't go away after its duration expired, and you could keep stacking it. And so you could get to the point where you were one-shotting everything. You were doing crazy amounts of damage, and it was hilarious, and it was funny, and it was honestly like it's broken for PvP, but like in PvE, it was not a problem, and they pulled out all the stops to fix it as quickly as they could. And then they leave other bugs like when you're a tank, you couldn't block all the time. Like block wouldn't work properly, and it's like, well, one of these is more important than the others, you know. Also, why do we have 2 quest markers? We only have 1 quest marker. Is this reading the mail? Oh, I have to craft something to begin with? Oh, okay. Interesting. Must be the new one. Or maybe it's not. Is this the one that you have to place it at the towers or whatever? Well, I guess we'll find out in a second. Cool. That was tricky. Sean G says, while in testing stations, my screen freezes after leaving Spice Prescience. I don't know if this is a bug or my CPU is dying. Yeah, I don't know, man. After leaving Spice Prescience, your screen freezes. I have not experienced that problem. Has anybody else had that problem? What else do I need to do here? Oh man, I hope that Sandfly Lieutenant isn't the guy I just killed. Okay, scale the outside of the watchtowers and hide it. Nah, hopefully it's over there. I thought that's what it was going to have me do. Is it all? So I just got to go to all 4 of them. Is it like right up front or something? Oh, interesting. Can you do it while climbing? No. There it goes. I don't think this one's new, but I haven't had it in a while. Or maybe it is new. Yeah, these are also scaled really weird with the current state of the game, where it's like you can just ignore enemies and they really don't matter. Is there another Is there another tower up here? Looks like it. Wait, what? They're going to make me read what this quest wants me to do? Oh no, it'd be so terrible if they sounded the alarm. Alright, something up top. Maybe in here. Doesn't look like it. Let me catch up on chat here. Let me just find a spot. Oh man, the guys who apply burning in the fire station, that's some nonsense. The fact that the dot one-shots you once you get it, so there's just no way to recover, is some nonsense. Dude, what is it? What do I need to do? Let me see here. Yeah, on the towers at the front. Okay, thanks. Yeah. No, but Dune sometimes crashes when I tab out. Okay. Not me. Maybe the game taking away too many resources again. Yeah. I've just been doing crafting missions. Yeah. You can do it while climbing. You have to collect some parts and then make a generator, I think, but it increases your gameplay time the more you die. Container where it's cool, man. You guys don't need to help me with these. I'll just wander around and complain. No stress. Oh, hey, there's a downstairs area. There we go. As long as you can handle me wandering around and complaining about questing. All right. Oh, my suspense. Oh, my God. If I don't have another suspensor belt. Oh, thank God I do. Whew. Yeah, that's the other thing. Some of the ways they approach fixing the problem with some of these things, by giving us like the suspensor belt that has a lot more durability, to me doesn't really feel like a fix. Because I don't know, several reasons really, but it doesn't really feel like a fix to me because now they want us to like go grind up some testing station. It's not worth it. Like nobody's grinding that testing station up for those belts. The only time that you really needed them was in PvP, and PvP isn't really a thing right now. So I don't know. Just more things where you're just scratching your head. I don't know. I don't want to necessarily keep going on this. One, because I just don't want to. It's not super fun to keep going on it. But it can also sound like this is what happens though. Like you get frustrated with one thing, and then you start noticing all the other things you're frustrated with. And, oh, was that killing that guy? Was that part of what I was supposed to do? I feel like it often is. Something's here. Oh, okay. Cool. Is there another one of those things up here, I'm guessing? Oh no! They've sounded the alarm! I wonder if we're gonna have to go into that area. Do you know anything about the new map? I'm hoping for rocks that give you water. Are you talking about the Landsraad area? I was just there a second ago, Sean. So I did just do that one, and I've definitely done the new map a bunch of times, or the new testing station a bunch of times, if that's what you're asking about. But it was my first time on that new map, so that was. I don't remember where the is it in here somewhere? I don't remember where you get the bracelet. There it is. I feel like I needed it to get whatever the thing is that's downstairs and below. Oh, it's kill this guy. Okay. Sweet. All right, we done here? Probably kill these guys before I go check. It's not impossible to die in here, especially if you're just staring at a menu. Craft power generator, exit area. All right. Got the stuff to craft 2 of them. All right, and we're done. Trying to find an area where we can get a good running head start, but there we go. The polar cap map. I don't know anything about it. No. Well, I say that. I mean, I know from like PTC, like the public test client, a couple of things. So I know that. I mean, I think we all know that it's going to be cold weather. So instead of a heat bar, I think there's going to be a cold bar. There's going to be gear to mitigate that. So probably survival gear that is going to mitigate that. There's also going to be some pills that you can take that will help with the cold. But I think that those are like the basic things that I know. That's not really strictly about the map, but it does tell you a little bit about I don't know. It does inform you about what it's going to be. It doesn't tell you anything about like the specifics or whatever, but yeah. Do some more blushing. It's Friday night when the Landsraad mission count resets. Yeah. Yep. Should be Friday. I assume it'll be at like around reset time. Hey guys. There you go. But I don't know. Heat warmers you could put in your boots. Yeah, there you go. No worms if it sticks to lore, so no spice. Oh, okay. Cool. I have almost max crafting. Should get it this weekend. Oh, nice. Cool, cool. That's awesome. Krabby says, to my understanding, is they want it to become another Haga Basin. Don't know for sure, though. Don't quote me. Okay. Interesting. Like a new tier of Haga Basin or something. That'd be interesting. They got a lot of really cool ideas for the game, man. There's so much stuff that could be really cool. I just hope that they will address some of this stuff, you know? And it really doesn't look like it to me that they are, you know? Yeah, I got no response to anything that I posted in their I was just checking over there, my post from the other day. I got no responses to it, no emotes, no nothing else. So we shall see. I'm just concerned for me. I hope that everybody gets to keep having fun at playing the game. But I'm just worried that it's going to get to a point where I'm just going to be like, nope. I'll come back whenever they finally do the things that they should have done 6 months ago. It's so unfortunate too, because there's so much fun in the game, and this is fun. Like doing these quests is like pretty fun. You know, all things considered. The water shippers, maybe it would be fine. I was complaining earlier, but I'm kind of already just like tilted about stuff, so I've never read those quests. I'm probably at this point maybe I never will, but oh, do I have to grab them? Oh, I never put on my shield. right, grab this third one. We'll have to craft them. And then I think we just want to go place these. Huh. Another... Did I not kill this guy? Did I only, like, down him or something? Alright, there we go. Yep, can go place him. I don't care about anything. Just let me let me pay Milan to reroll Augs. Wait, I missed the first comment. Was lots of games make the mistake of adding new content, without addressing problems with the old content. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I've addressed that. Like, I don't know. A lot of players will say that that's what they care about. They don't vote with their money. And so I think it's like trained games companies and these developers to not really listen, and to not really act upon that feedback. But yeah, I think that it's becoming less and less true. And I think players are kind of like a little bit of wise to the situation, and are also like getting to the point where like we're just tired of like stuff not working right. Like they want us to keep spending more money, and they haven't. And again, I'm okay with, there's some level of jank, there's some level of issues that I'm okay with. It's just there's also a level that is not, and I think Dune is pretty far past. Yeah. Then the problems just stack up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you feeling the same? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I imagine a lot of people are, and it's unfortunate because like we can still have fun despite some of these things, but it's also wild that you would have to. Like, I don't want to have fun despite these things. I want the rest of the game to be fun. One of the guys that I regularly play with really likes using heavy weapons. And I just wish that like using the heavy machine guns, he really there's a lot of them actually. He just kind of likes heavy weapons in general. And that's really cool. And he often plays, when he's by himself, he plays differently. But I would like for him to be able to run those heavy weapons. That would be awesome. That would be great. And he doesn't want to do it though. And we don't want him to do it if they're just doing so much less damage, or they're just so much less effective. Why does the pyrocket gotta suck? Yeah, I'm getting one shot by the fire, so I've stopped playing for a few days. It's more fun for me to just start the game over. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the fire stations, the one shots in there, like they never fix that. I honestly think that they don't think that's a problem. I think that they know what's going on, and I think they don't think it's a problem. And it's a case of like developers not listening to player feedback and thinking they know better. And you know what? On the one hand, like you actually do want, like it is not the worst thing in the world for a developer to be like, you know what, we know the game best, and that's it. The issue is when developers think that, but it's not true. You actually want them to think that, but you want it to be true. You want the developers to be the experts on all of this stuff. And, it's just been really clear to me watching some of their live streams that these guys are just looking at telemetry, and they're not looking at the game, How you kill them without slow blades with your blades? Oh, yeah, Oro. Was that Aeolian? Aeolian Oro? Yeah, so the dual wield mechanic, here I can go find a mob, I'll show you. I think there'll be a guy up here. So the new rotation on the dual wield does essentially a heavy attack like through their shields, and it does damage to them. And then I have these are like grade 5, like with 2 augments, so it's enough to one-shot them. So it's usually your third attack on your light attack. Oh. Do you not have a shield up? Hey, put Put your shield on. There we go. Hold on. We got to wait for him to... There we go. Oh, my gosh. Wait, why does it keep killing them? I don't know why it's killing them right now, actually. We could go find a melee guy or something. I don't know if he's going to shoot and his shield's dropping for a second. But when you do your like kick flick thing and you come down with a blade on top from up above, that'll do damage through a shield. Yeah, I don't know where to find a guy. Maybe we can go over here if I don't find him here. But yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. I thought you were talking about the dual blade attacks when you do like your here we go. Here's a melee guy. Kill this guy first. So that one. And then you come down from the top, that'll kill him. But I don't know what was going on with those other guys. I suspect that their shield was dropping because they were about to try to shoot me, maybe? That's my best guess. Or it's bugged. I don't know. Yeah. Sean says it's a challenge which I respect. If I didn't get one shot, it would be easy. I've been trying on level 13. Not sure what else I can do. Yeah, Sean, I just think that like the scaling is just messed up of where it's at, man. I think that the one shots should come later. And I think it's pretty annoying that the fire guys will light you on fire in 1 second, and then you're guaranteed to die to that fire dot at the higher levels. That to me doesn't feel very fair. I don't know of any other enemy in the game that will kill you in 1 second. And sure, like it actually takes you longer to die, but if you get caught on fire, you're pretty much going to die. And there's really pretty much nothing you can do about it. And so it really is the 1 second. No boss does that. Nothing else does that. And so to me, that feels not okay. I'm okay with the one shots too. I just feel like they should come later. I also think that damage and armor is not balanced at all. Like armor is like kind of useless in the higher end testing stations. And that to me feels kind of bad. So I guess that's what I meant. Oh, is that here? Sure, I'll do this. Oh, hopefully I didn't kill that guy. Did I just kill him? No, I don't think I did. Hopefully I didn't. Yeah. What up, Brent? Yeah. Yeah, we're on the anvil. Yeah. I liked it auto-corrected to Advil. But yeah, we're still in the anvil. Did I kill this guy? Shoot, I must have, huh? Well, he'll come back. Let me see here. Drax says, oh, that sounds like him. I remember Helldivers 2 having the issue having that issue focus only on the data and not the gameplay experience. Yeah, I think these games are just like giving players a lot more telemetry. Oh, I got to eliminate the rest of the people. Crap. Let me go back. I was wondering why the quest marker didn't update. Yeah, man. I mean, and the crazy thing is, like, it's a pretty basic thing. This also happens in other businesses. There's like I've mentioned this. It's been a while since I've mentioned it, so maybe it's worth mentioning again. But there'll be a lot of there's a recycled saying in business, and I at one point I think I've mentioned I've worked for a few wineries, and wineries are a big part of the winery is like you're a farmer. You're a fancy farmer. You're just a farmer. And one of the guys I worked for at some point was a commercial farmer. That was his trade. And what I mean by commercial farmer is like some investment, group wants to invest in almonds, and they want to invest a lot of money in almonds. And they're going to sell those to, whatever companies, and they think they can make money and, maybe undercut the market or whatever. And so they'll say, hey, go plant 50,000 acres of something, right? Like some crazy number to me, and that might not even be. They might be way bigger numbers than that. I don't know. I was never into that. I was never had anything to do with that part of the business. But he had this quote, and it's a recycle quote. And it's modified. You know, it's like one of those stupid inspirational poems. You know, inspirational like things you see at work, right? You know. And that's all it was. But it said, you know, something to the effect of like, you know, the farmer's field is fertilized with the footsteps of the farmer, or some nonsense like that. But there's actually truth to this, and in the true part of it, and the non, you know, whatever, however you want to say it, it is that you know, if you're in charge of a company, no one should know your business better than you. No. No, certainly no like you know, third party company that you hire to help you with stuff. Like no one should know your business better than you, and you need to understand the entire business. And it's crazy, but like this happens with giant companies, for better and for worse, where they do or don't do this. There's a anecdotal story about oh man, I don't know. It's one of the large it was one of the large like makers of detergent, and they weren't selling well in China, and they didn't know why. And turns out that, you know, they were having problems because they had hard water, and their detergent wasn't very good with hard water. And so what they needed to do is like change the formula so that it would work better and like set up in hard water. And they did that, and their sales went up, right? And it took someone in the company understanding and like actually understanding how their product is used, and understanding what the customer experience was, and then trying to fix that, right? And if you just looked at the data, you might go, well, they're not using our product. Okay. You need somebody at your company who knows. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're running restaurants, you need to make sure that the people managing your restaurants know what the hell is going on, right? Not just reading the customer feedback, but like what is the actual experience going on in the restaurant, because that'll inform you. And it just, again, it just really doesn't matter. Oh, you're getting extra waste at your manufacturing, you know, or a raw materials job, right? Like what's going on? Understanding the intricacies of your business will inform you and allow you to make better decisions. And it's a low bar, but a lot of these people in charge just don't know that. And when you have people that like, you know, oh, they started out at the bottom of the, you know, barrel. What's up, man? And you know that they work their way up in a company. They kind of know how the company works, and it's crazy. It's crazy to me that game developers would need to like be told this, right? Like you need to play your game and you need to understand your game, because if they did, they would know how to fix a lot of this stuff. Let me see. Oro says, I just started to play 3 weeks ago again, and I'm still learning how the new weapons work. Okay. Is it okay to use Halleck's pick, or I should spend money for double blades? Oh, yeah. No, actually, Halleck's pick is just fine. Yeah, it's totally fine. You'll want to get on the testing station grind and get the graded gear. It's huge. It's massive. Are you a PvE or a PvP player? Aeolian. You know, because that'll depend. But either way, you probably want to get on the testing station grind. There are probably better weapons. Currently, the damage on all the weapons is scaled up really high, but the dot damage hasn't. So usually dot builds or dot setups aren't usually that great. Melee is absolutely crucial in PvE in the testing stations leading up to the boss. Sorry, I had to give the rabbits a treat. And then once you actually get to the boss, then it's usually ranged. Some of them you can melee, but most of them you want to range and just use a shotgun. If you're talking about PvE, you've got to get higher graded gear. If somebody has higher graded gear and you're PvE, okay, at the moment PvE, okay. Oh, you have a grade 5 Halleck's pick. Okay. So what is the best melee for PvE? Halleck's pick is going to work just fine. There's an argument to be made that a static needle is a little bit better. And the reason the static needle is a little bit better is because it doesn't do the dot damage. And so you can CC an opponent. But a pick is the best weapon for trash leading up to a boss. You can get more slow blades in typically. All the weapons work fine, but a pick is probably the best. A pick is the best. You can use kind of whatever in the newest testing station. Like, so here's what I would say about all the melee weapons is like the static needle is like the best, and like um, I guess rapiers just in general are the best, but we're talking really small degrees, right? Like here's like G0 way down here. Like other weapons that are of the right grade, they're all kind of up there. Dual wielding doesn't work very well on heavies. It can be very frustrating, but it is probably the best thing for the newest testing station, which is why I have them on. I think they're probably the best thing for damage per second with just light attacks. Is the dual blades, and it's also pretty nice for the cleave in the new testing station, which is what I was geared out for. I have also I acquired at least one of everything, and I've given away most of my weapons to other people so that they would to get them like their first graded piece of gear. So I'm down to like 2 G5 weapons or something. I've got like this and a spiked hilt, so. I say that so you know that like don't read into what I'm running. Some of what I'm running, like it doesn't matter that much. I'll be just fine with like the suboptimal thing, and so I've yeah. What augment should you put on it? All damage. There are now just all damage augments. There are 4 damage augments. There is one that will simply blade sharpener, I think, just increases your damage, doesn't do anything else. There's a new one that drops from the new testing station that is the heavy metal blade augment that also just increases your damage and makes your weapon weigh a little bit more, which who cares? That's the second best one. And then probably the next one is the one that I forget what it's called, but it adds damage and it makes your blocks cost more stamina. There's also one that makes your attacks cost more stamina. I probably wouldn't do that. It's not the end of the world. You could if that's all you have, but that's probably what I would go with. I see your question, Meg. Let me just catch up on chat, make sure I didn't miss anybody else because I was a little bit behind there. Drex says, I think one-shots are fine on higher content if you're not getting killed by bugs and unfair mechanics. Yeah, I would agree. And I would also want like higher drop rates too, so that there's a reason to do a level 40, right? Because right now there's not. Theory Carver says that fire dot behaves like a boss dot. I'd be fine with if the boss manages to dot you. Fine, I deserve that. But on trash mobs, no. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, Theory Carver. And then the other thing is I would like our dots don't do anything. So like, what's going on there? I mean, I'm sure it's they're trying to balance PvP, but it's just they should do a better thing. Drex says telemetry is a good tool, just like AI. It's a good tool, but you can't take the human out of the product. Yeah. And then Mambus was just saying hello. Sean says, what is the mentality of the person who doesn't know what's going on besides I don't know? Are you talking about like a person at the company, Sean? Like, are you talking about like a developer being of that mind? Yeah, and then makes it coming back myself. Do people still run DD? Like overall, what's the end game like now? Oh, what is the end game like now? So there's 2 versions of the DD. One of them is purely PvE. The other one is PvP. Some people will go out there and I don't know. Some people will go out there. And a lot of people still go farm in the PvE, and they'll do the testing stations too. They'll run those. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. Yeah. So Sean, I think they think they know what's going on, and they tunnel vision and are like, well, I have this problem and this problem and this problem to fix. And this happened at Arrowhead too, where they were actually aware of it. And they realized that like the developers were having to work. They were too much crunch going on, and what they needed to set aside time for their developers to play the game at work. That's what they needed to do. And they needed to do that so that they could do their actual job of balancing the game better. And they admitted that they were too busy like, oh, we got to fix this, we got to fix this, we got to fix this, as opposed to like playing the game and understanding it. I will say there is another option too. They could listen to players, and they could try to find players that will give them really good feedback, and they could listen to those players. But again, they don't know who to listen to, because one player will say one thing and another player will say a totally opposite thing. And if you don't understand the game, if you don't understand your game, you're not going to know who to listen to, and that's what happens. And I think that's the problem. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just people being bad at their job and people getting tunnel vision, I think. But yeah, I don't know. Why are people bad at their jobs? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no problems. Or yeah, glad to help. Always happy to answer questions, guys. And if you ever have them, doing other stuff or whatever, if I'm playing a different game, I usually don't mind. Sometimes if it's like a really long answer, like it might be a problem. But live streams are always a great place to come in and, like some people are like, oh, I don't want to interrupt. The interruptions are the live stream to me, to be totally honest with you. Like, so that's how I'm autopiloting here. What do I need to do? I think I need to grab this and then go up here. Yeah, it looks like it. I'm just going to ignore all this stuff. It doesn't matter. One more question. Okay, cool. What gear set should I use for melee? From what I know, does not matter the grade because you have the shield all the time, so matters the set, right? Yeah, we're talking for PvE. Generally speaking, that is true. PvE, that's true. Yeah. The best thing to do, you'll have to use ranged on some fights, though, just to keep that in mind. This is gonna be really annoying. Here, let's get further away. Oh my gosh. We're just gonna leave that guy. Some fights you'll have to use ranged. Like, you don't want to melee the fire boss. You don't want to melee the radiation boss. And in those situations, you probably want to be wearing heavy armor, ideally. Something like Bulwark is the go-to. Bulwark is, I think, the move right now. Alternatively, running the other heavy set, the Executor set, I believe, is the other one, is your other option there. I'm pressing buttons. It's not doing anything. What's going on here? Is there some latency, maybe? Oh my gosh. Shield's about to break from all of this. Whoa! What? I was hitting my my dual blades and it wouldn't even draw them. I don't know why. That was weird. So to give you, let me give you a longer answer though to tell you about the light gear, because I have some thoughts on this. So let me. Oh, thanks. Dying of dehydration here. Yeah, let me give you the longer answer here. I just want to get out of the radiation area real quick. All right. So the longer answer here. It's going to depend a little bit. If you are on a fight where you're wanting to fly around a lot, like on the fire boss or the radiation boss, those are the two main areas. I have to find out where they're at. Oh, wait, aren't these alphabetical? Okay, well, I still have to remember what I want to recommend. Yeah, so Executor and Bulwark here. Bulwark, one of them gives like energy resistance and the other one doesn't. There's a slight difference in them, but both will block. You could also use Pincushion if you wanted to stick with light, and then you could put more damage reduction augs on them for taking range damage. Idaho's Charge allows you to fly for a lot longer and expend a lot less power. So that's really good on a lot of places. So again, those radiation and fire boss. So I highly recommend that. The X-Core leggings, I think I use them most of the time. The 10% reduction in dodge. Sorry, let me pull up the. There you go. The 10% reduction in dash stamina cost. When I've tested this out, it usually means I can get one extra dodge. And so, yeah, that can be super helpful for you as well. So those two can pair together. For gloves, I usually run circuit gauntlets. It reduces your power expenditure. Those are actually heavy, but I usually run those as well. Yeah, and then after that, Pincushion, if you want to go light, is probably the way to go. Yeah, no reason to run really anything else. And then if you're going to go heavy, again, probably Bulwark is the best. Certain bosses do different damage types. So the lightning boss does dart damage, not lightning damage. The poison boss does blade damage. The dark boss does blade damage. The fire boss does concussive and burning. So concussive is what his like main like weapon actually when it hits near you, it does concussive damage in a radius around that. Armor, just plain armor value protects quite a bit from concussive damage, in my experience, more so than the other weapon or other damage types. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's I've run them naked, and running them naked, there's a couple of places where the concussive damage will down you. If you're not wearing clothes. And so if you're wearing any armor whatsoever, though, it doesn't have to be concussive or whatever, but just something with a decent armor value, it'll do a lot less damage. So I think armor itself helps protect quite a bit from concussive damage, the actual like armor value on this stuff. And again, I don't know how it's calculated, but that's just what it feels like to me, and I'm pretty confident on that. Just going off of the feel. I'm trying to think of what else. What other advice? I don't know. Let me know if you got some other stuff. Have circuit gauntlets and power harness. Cool. Yeah. Power harness. I think can be a little bit overrated. A lot of people like swear by it. I feel like it's a little overrated. It's not bad, but especially if you're flying around a lot, though, going with Idaho's Charge is the way to go. Yeah. All right. Let me see. Yeah. PvE DD testing stations drops are bad. Yeah. The I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, they're bad, but they're safe and they're easy. So and people still need the shield, like the T6 shield, and a couple of other things too. Power pack still drop there. So I think that people want those. I've also been told that that it's the deeper you are in the desert. And, hey, Lyriel, and it doesn't matter if you are in the PvE or the PvP. That's what my friends who only run in the PvE area tell me. They tell me it's actually just as good. It's just once you get past the like E5 line or whatever, you get better drops. Trek says they could always have a small team of player testers that only play the game. Yeah, I mean they probably do, man. It's again, it's just incompetence. Like like they should know these issues are happening, man. They should know they're going on. They certainly have play testers. They're not listening to the right people, or they're not prioritizing the right things. I don't know which one of those things it is, but it's one of those. They could always have a small team of, yeah, I'm sorry. Never mind, I already read that. Rodriguez says there's an issue with listening to a set of players instead of using open tests. Unlike the U.S., Norway has labor laws, so they might be unpaid labor. It would require clear contracts. Yeah. Yeah, there can be issues. There can be issues of listening to a subset of players, absolutely. Which is why I think, and that's the problem. Like they don't know who to listen to. I think if they could find the people to listen to, here's the thing: on the games that I play a lot, I put enough hours into them that I know the stuff I don't know, and I can also tell you when somebody else knows something about, and they're an expert about their part of the game that they play. And it just requires a certain amount of knowledge to get to that point. And if you don't have that, then yeah, it's not going to work out. Again, it's just competence, and it's just like running, you know, running the business like it should be ran. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Um, I bought Explore Leggings today, grade 5, okay, and I have circuit gauntlets and power harness. Cool, should be good then. Grade 5 hole, but I still think with the helmet and boots, yeah, just get pin cushion if you want light for the helmet and boots. Yep. And remember, the boss shoots where you are, not where you'll be. Therefore, move laterally. Yeah, keep moving. And change altitude when you jump around for sure. I don't know most of these words, so I can't really participate, but wanted to say hi. Well, thank you. I appreciate you dropping in. Oh no, Dune is incompetent now. Are they Zoss level? No, Lyriel. They just have some stuff. So Lyriel, to kind of like rehash. There's a bunch of new people in here too. Kind of where I'm at with the game, and I think where a lot of people are at with the game is like so the game came out and they had made a bunch of mistakes, which is fine, and they had to kind of fix those mistakes. And they then in like their 2 updates before now, so it's been a kind of a recent update, but the one before that, they introduced like a whole new end game, which was cool, and it was something they needed to do, and it was like not the original plan. Things were a little bit kind of crazy and hectic, and so they were working real hard to get that kind of content out, and cool, they got it out. But there are some problems in the game that have been there since launch. For example, like an entire class of weapons. There's melee, range, and then heavy weapons. And that entire class of heavy weapons has never worked well. Most of them. A few of them work too well sometimes. But like the basic like machine gun type weapons, flamethrower, have never worked well. And they even have like a quest where they give you like a really cool skin for like the flamethrower, make it look like a dragon, which is really cool. But there's no reason to use the flamethrower and use that skin because the weapon is so bad. And so there's just like a lot of these issues where it's kind of like, okay, it's time for you guys to fix these things now, right? You're going to fix these things because it's been about a year, and it kind of seemed like it kind of seems like maybe they're not. And right now they're trying to prep for release on console. And so they're prioritizing making more money, which is what a company should do, I guess. Well, definitely should do, but they can't abandon the players who actually bought the game and are playing it. And so it's kind of getting to a point where I think for a lot of us, we're kind of tired of some of this stuff, and we're like, hey, are you going to fix this or not? And instead they're like hyper focused on releasing new content as opposed to taking care of those of us who have already paid for the game and who've already been playing. So that's kind of where we're at. Guys, I'm going to finish up this last quest here. We're going to go kill the Sandfly Lieutenant or whatever we got to do here. And then I think we're going to hop over to some Civ 7 after this. They're doing the same as well. Yeah, cool Mala skins, and Mala suck. Yeah, oh yeah, okay, great. Yeah, Mala skins, yeah. Mala pistols are a type of weapon that unfortunately aren't really worth running. And so, yeah, it's just more of the same where you're like, okay, I mean, cool, you gave me cool skins, but this weapon is not really worth using, so why? Make the weapon cool. And a lot of it is really easy. Like a lot of it would be really easy to fix, and I think that's a big part of the consternation is like, hey, this stuff would be really easy to fix, Some of it literally is just like changing numbers in a spreadsheet to numbers that make more sense. And so I think there's a lot of us that are like, we've been patient, but like, how long is it going to take you to fix some basic numbers in a spreadsheet? They're not prioritizing stuff. A lot of the skills are not really usable anymore because they upgraded all the weapons. So there's power creep in the weapons, but they didn't up the damage the various skills are doing. So these skills, a lot of the skills in the game are now not really worth using. So yeah, an unfortunate state of the game because it is just so fun, and there's so much great about this game. All right, is that it? Cool. Traversal, incredibly fun. Yeah, no worries. I started playing again and love it even more than the first time. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, PvE player. I'm sure they've added a lot of stuff if you haven't played in a while. That's really cool. Maybe they will fix some of these long-standing issues with the console release. I know that that's cope, but I can hope. Yeah, they won't fix them with the console release track. Yeah, unfortunately, that's just not how that doesn't usually make sense for them to do. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but probably not. Yeah, no, man. I mean, again, there's still it's still a great game. I'm frustrated because I like the game, and some of these issues are really simple. They're really simple to do. Just change the damage numbers so that they make sense. Make it where throwing a grenade does something. Like it's not that big of a deal, but. I just think for a lot of us who have continued to play the game, where like these bugs, this happens with all games. When you've been playing for a while, like at first you're like, okay, that's kind of a bummer or whatever, but gradually they become more and more frustrating, and you want them fixed. That's just what happens, and it's not an unreasonable thing to ask for, as a player, for them to fix these things. And I don't know. I'm also of the mind that it's not a big deal to. I think more players should take care of themselves. I try to do a good job of this. Oh, did Nani change the style? Oh, she added the new water shipper style. Okay. Like if you're over it, you're frustrated with the game, just go play something else. Vote with your money. Don't keep paying for whatever if you're not happy with it. You don't need to rage. You don't need to ruin everybody else's fun. I mean, some of the PvP players, I don't know if you guys have seen some of that stuff, but like they're literally, bragging and like telling everybody about how they're going to try to, I mean, and they have been, like go ruin other people's fun because they're mad at Funcom. And so they just want the game to die. And it's like the most childish, like immature, and also like dick move for the other players that I've ever heard of. It's like, what are you guys doing? I definitely don't think people it's just crazy. It's just not a big deal to just go play other games. Like same deal people have had with Helldivers. It's like they've got people will have just ridiculous numbers. Like I don't know how many hours I have. I don't have that many in Helldivers. Like I have 940, right? 940 hours. Still a lot of hours in a game, but not like compared to a lot of games. People will put in 40 hours a week playing Helldivers for like years, and then will be mad that there's not more content and stuff like that. And you're like, dude, they're not charging you for future updates. You pay for a weapons pack if you want it, but if you're playing 40 hours a week, you definitely did not need to buy it because you earned enough in-game currency to be able to buy it with the currency you got in-game. So you paid $40 for a game, or 45, I think it was 40, and you've been playing it 40 hours a week for 2 years. I think you've gotten your money's worth. If you're not happy with the game, maybe go play something else. I think Dune has a pretty good, monetization policy. I've done my best as someone who can advocate for players to try to advocate for players. But I play these games a lot too, and at some point you're like, I'm not going to keep running the testing stations if I can barely get, enough gear. Most of the people I know don't have the gear they need or that they want, and certainly we don't have any extras. And I get more than I need, but I usually give it away to other people that are trying to get it because they've had such a hard time, and they struggle a lot more than I do because they don't play games for a living. And so that's kind of stuff like it needs to be fixed. And if they're not going to fix it, like I'm definitely I'm gonna stop running that content at the very least. Krabby says same thing happened with Arc Raiders. People played for hundreds of hours just a few months after release, then complained there was no content. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Gamers, we sometimes have really really bad memories as gamers. It really is. Increasing the loot pool along with the low drop rates is not helping. Yeah, and having so much garbage in the loot pool, when you're looking for when you're on grade 5 is the only thing that matters. Anything that's not grade 5 is complete garbage. And then when you're actually like looking at grade 5, a lot of the things are garbage. Like a lot of the mods are just not useful. Most of the uniques have some sort of utility, but the weapons that I told you, but the heavy weapons that we want them to fix are completely useless. So the glasser, any flamethrower, the glasser, or the what's the other one called? Whatever. The Sadakar Intimidator, that's garbage. There's all these things that aren't good, and it's like, hey, we'd like you to fix these so we could use them. It'd be cool if there was a third way of playing the game. Vaporizer, thanks. What's up, Talith? Talith dropping in. What's going on, man? The vaporizer, to like a lesser extent, I think it could use a rework. But what's the other heavy called? Oh, I do have a hateful bark. Oh, it's a G4. The plasma cannon. Plasma cannon. It's weird. The plasma cannon does decent damage, but I really feel like it should be a shield breaking weapon because it's Bishar's cannon art. Yeah, I said that one. Yep. What you don't want grade 5 plasma cannon? Grade 5 plasma cannon is better than a lot of those other options. But yeah, I mean you can actually use it. It's kind of okay. It does decent damage. If you really want to RP, but yeah, I don't know. A lot of it, I think of it as a shield breaking weapon. It doesn't have to be. Whatever. Talis says the plasma cannon ain't that bad, but it also is nerf versus bossive, which is lame as fuck. Yeah, because the extra energy resistance they put on or whatever. Yeah, so I don't know a lot of that stuff, and then they just keep making shotguns better, and like shotguns are already have been the best weapon in the game for so long. Guys, I ran that new testing stations 40 times. I've gotten none of these weapons. That's what all these holes are. I've gotten none of the new weapons. I've gotten one, and it was a G4. Like, I've literally got no schematics for any of the new weapons in a G5 that I at least I don't think so. You know what? No, I got this one. I got the Serpent's Fang. So I've out of that 30 times, I've gotten like 3 things that are actually useful. I've gotten the Serpent's Fang, and I have gotten 2 weapon augments that are actually really, really good. But 3 good items after having ran it, I don't even know. I'm saying 30. It's almost certainly more than that, but I've ran it a bunch. They made the best weapon in the game, even better, bester weapon in the game. Yeah, exactly. And so it's just like, I don't know. It's wild because like with some of the new weapons, they actually brought the new like range weapons, like the Hell Fury pistol. They actually brought the damage up to a competitive place with the Regis triple shot and the shotgun. Actually, to the Regis triple shot, not the shotgun. Shotgun's still in a category unto itself. And it's like, okay, cool. So you know where damage should be at. Why not fix it? with all these other weapons, and I don't have a good answer to that. It's also really weird that like a dart for every man and Sardaukar Intimidator do probably arguably too much damage. Some of these other weapons, again, like the heavy, you would think, Bashar's command, like these heavy machine guns, you would just think that they should do a bunch of big weapon, do big damage. It's that simple, and they don't. So I don't know. Tella says, I want to talk to the person that made the choices for the new augments. I really want to know how they're deciding these things. Dude, you and me both, man. And I, in my experience, in a lot of these situations where you're like wondering, like, what kind of 4D chess thing are they doing? What are they thinking? It's usually not. It's usually stupidity. That's just been my limited experience. You never want to think that. But I think this causes us problems sometimes because we're always like, okay, what are they thinking? What are they doing here? And like in reality, they thought it was a good idea, and they're so detached from what the gameplay is that like they don't actually know. Yeah, guys, I said I'd be playing Civ right now. I'm like 40 minutes late. I think we need to hop over. We'll be back. We'll come back and talk about Dune. We'll be playing some more. When everything, well, I guess this weekend we got double drops and we got double XP, so we'll be playing a lot this weekend. I do have family coming in town this weekend as well, so that's going to throw off my streaming. So Friday to Monday might be a different schedule than it usually is. So just bear with me on that, but I'll be playing. Probably I'll be playing more later in the evening. I'll probably spend the day with the family and then play kind of later at night. But we'll just have to see what happens. Yeah, yeah, and I don't know. Maybe we'll get some response from the development team. I'm not holding my breath, but maybe we will. So, just remember, guys, you got to vote with your money, you got to vote with your time, and let them know. Give them the feedback when you can, so they know these things. And if we all shout it loud enough. In the past, they have been relatively responsive when we've just point blank told them about things. And a lot of times they're like, oh, we didn't know that was a problem. I don't understand how they didn't know these things are not a problem, but I'm taking them at their word, and they seem genuine in that they didn't understand some of the stuff was a problem. So fingers crossed they'll give a listen. But yeah, we'll call it here for right now, and we're going to jump over to some Civ 7. We were doing a playthrough. Civ 7 just updated. They've also got some issues. Oh, man. Sometimes being a streamer and, doing this thing, it's just like, I don't know. It can be a bit disheartening when so many games, you're just like, what's going on with this game? What's the problem now? Civ 7 has got some crazy AI, like the AI that it's just like super aggro right now. And you're like, you guys didn't test this, you didn't know this is a problem, but I know games are complicated. I know they're hard, but some of this stuff is not, and I think we're right to expect a little bit better, or at least demand it. I don't know. All right, let me see. I'm just fixing this on Twitch. So we're doing Exploration Age Pachacuti? They spell Pachacuti. Is it 2 A's? 2 A's in Pachacuti? Or is it an E? Not a word I type out a lot. I could just put whatever, and if I'm wrong, the internet will let me know. Pachacuti, and this is episode 3. Cool. All right, guys, here on YouTube, I'm gonna those who just tuned in for Dune, guys. Thanks for dropping in. I know there's a lot of people still dropping in. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back. We'll be back talking about more Dune, but just calling here for now. I've been going for a couple hours, so we'll be back on Friday, I would imagine, to talk more about it. Those who are sticking out, though, I'm going to end the stream here on YouTube, kick you over to the new stream, and we'll hop into some Civ and get going there. But again, those of you who dipping out, guys, appreciate you for dropping in. It's always fun being able to chat with people and have some fun conversations. All right, I'm kicking you over now.